I was really hoping that the U.S. would get on board on this story right here and some justice would be brought to this girl's family for losing her in the manner in which they did. It's pretty messed up. You plan a vacation with who you think are your friends. And to some degree, she even paid for her own death because she paid for the luxury villa that they stayed in, the luxury beachfront villa where she was seen on video in that suite being beaten. It wasn't a fight. Make no mistake about it. Shanquella was getting beat down. And there were other friends who were sitting around videotaping the whole situation and encouraging her to fight back, Shanquella, fight back. Or they were saying, come on, girl, why you not fighting back? The girl was not a fighter. She froze. She got beat to death. And even though we're able to see it on video in the U.S., because it happened in Mexico, apparently, the U.S. refuses to do anything about it. Breaking news, according to MSN.com, shout out to them. A story was printed by Cassia Gale on Wednesday that says that no federal charges are being filed in the death of Shanquella Robinson. Disappointing news. This Wednesday, it was announced that federal prosecutors will not file any criminal charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson, the 25-year-old who died in October, on October 29th of 2022, while she was on a trip with friends to Cabo, San Luca in Mexico. Now, she was over there on that trip. It was supposed to be a festive affair, birthday celebrations, bottles popping, beachfront villa, luxury life, and all that. And she ended up being the only one not coming back to the U.S. alive. As we previously reported, Robinson had arrived in the town of San Jose del Cabo, not San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo, at a resort on the southern tip of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. Now, she was with 6 friends, and a day later after her arrival, she was found dead in the rental property where she was staying. Her friends told her mother over the phone, because her mom was back in the U.S., and her mom was in constant contact with her daughter. Like, they would go FaceTime. It's their thing for them to talk to each other every day. Just that natural thing. You have that one person you speak to every day or every other day. So if a week goes by, you haven't heard from this person and you're reaching out and there's no reply, your antennas start to go up. Red flags start to pop up. And it was the same situation with Shanquella. Her mom had just spoke to her and she was like, yeah, I think we're going to go have a couple of drinks or something. And she said, I was going to go lay down because I'm kind of tired. And by the next morning, things got ugly. She's hearing from her friends that they told the mom that she had died of alcohol poisoning. However, Mexican officials said that Robinson died of a cracked spine. Her spinal cord was cracked. Now, if you look at the video in which she was getting beat, you could see pretty much how her spinal cord would have been cracked. Now, after those details were shared with the public and a video emerged showing Robinson getting brutally beaten by her friend during the trip, it raised many questions about the Charlotte native's death. Family and close friends immediately started calling on the authorities to thoroughly investigate the incident. Weeks later, authorities brought charges from Mexico against one of her friends. However, the United States did not extradite that person back to Mexico to be charged in Shanquella's death. That person, as far as we know, is still in the U.S. Now, while there was great hope that the long wait meant that her case was being handled, some people said the FBI was involved. People thought that this was going to work itself out. We have faith in the American authorities. Not so. So while there were great hope that this long wait only meant that her case was being handled, United States Attorney Dina King and the FBI gave the upsetting development in this case. In a Wednesday statement, they explained that there was not enough evidence of wrongdoing to issue criminal charges in this case. Federal officials with the U.S. authorities office in the Middle and Western District of North Carolina and the FBI, they met with the family of Mrs. Shanquella Robinson, or Miss Shanquella Robinson. She wasn't married, and family representatives to offer their condolences. These people didn't want condolences. These people wanted justice. These people wanted to know that the group of friends that she was with were all held accountable. No one brought them in for questioning. No one brought, when a murder happens, right? Or when somebody is killed, usually they would take everybody. If it's 6 people, they would separate the 6 people. Then they would have a question answer session. Whoever wants to talk, talk. If you don't want to talk, then you have a right to not speak in the presence of an attorney, blah, blah, blah. Read them their Miranda rights, speak to them, and then match up their stories and see who's lying and who's telling the truth and try to get to the bottom of this. None of that has been done. That's what the family wanted. They wanted some kind of justice. They didn't want your condolences. So they met with the family to share their condolences and to present the findings of the federal investigation into Shanquella's death. The investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of Shanquella Robinson has been a priority for federal prosecutors and for the FBI. The FBI has worked diligently to conduct a detailed and thorough investigation on the evidence available in this case. This is what they're saying. Now, in a coordination with Shanquella's family, an autopsy was conducted in the United States by Medical Examiner's Office in Mecklenburg County. As in every case under consideration for federal prosecution, the government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a federal crime was committed. Based on the results of the autopsy and after a careful deliberation and review of the investigative material by both U.S. Attorney's Office and the federal prosecutors that were informed Mrs. Robinson's family today, that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. Wow. So the death of Miss Robinson has been incredibly difficult for her family and the community. First of all, right, I want you to think about this. When Shanquella passed away, the Mexican authorities did their own autopsy. So, and if you know how an autopsy is done, they're going to cut the body open. They're going to do all kinds of stuff, right, just to see what cause of death might have been. And then they're going to sew her back up. And then her body was transported to the U.S. Her body gets to the U.S. and a separate autopsy is then done again. So here is her body being violated again, pretty much, just trying to figure out her death. Now, I don't know, but I think that alone is traumatic, especially for a mom. At this point, parents, mom and dad, they already know that their child is dead. They just want to get to the bottom of it. They just want to lay her to rest peacefully. But here she is again in another morgue, laying on a slab, getting cut open again. People trying to figure out what happened. That part alone is traumatic. And then to have all her group of friends that were present all just walk free. Even the person who was seen on video beating the daylights out of her. That video alone should be evidence, because you can see in the video how she was slumped. And at one point, she looked like her arms had gone dead. Her shoulders were relaxed. She was slumped at the neck, right where they said her spinal cord was cracked. So in other words, the video pretty much shows what happened to her. So for the FBI to say they don't have enough evidence to support that a federal crime was committed here, man, I don't know. So the death of Shanquella Robinson has been incredibly difficult for her family, as one could imagine, right? As a matter of policy, Federal officials generally do not issue public statements concerning the status of an investigation. However, given the circumstances of Shanquella's death and the public concerns surrounding this investigation, they're saying that it is important to reassure the public that experienced federal agents and seasoned prosecutors extensively reviewed the available evidence and have concluded that federal charges cannot be pursued. As in any case, the government is prepared to review and examine new information that is related to the investigation should it become available. The family is expected to hold a press conference later on Wednesday afternoon. Today is Friday, so I'm guessing they did hold a press conference. I can only guess how disappointed they are. It's sad, but let this be a lesson. Know who you're going with. You're between a rock and a hard place. A lot of people want to travel, but they have no friends to travel with. Some people are afraid to travel alone because when you're alone traveling to foreign places, sometimes it makes you look like a target because there are criminals all over the world. Some even work in these all-inclusive resorts that you might book into feeling like you're safe. So you're between a rock and a hard place. But the message in this one is you better know who your friends are, right? My grandma used to say friends will take you places that you can't even bring yourself back from. No truer words have been said. It was her and them in Mexico. She wasn't able to bring herself back to the U.S. She came back in a body bag as a cadaver. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. And the big question some people are asking is, I bet you if it was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl from the U.S., little Southern belle, more efforts would have been put into it. I don't know. I will leave it up to you for you to discuss. I'll catch y'all on the next video, man. It's Hot Topics TV. You already know if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Peace.